Dubes & Co. Weekdays from 6 p.m.
This is a topic very close to my heart. I have become fully convinced that social media, smartphones are one of the primary causes of mental health problems in children and many other serious problems beside. Lots of governments are starting to talk about this, but the Australians are well ahead in their use of legislation. What do you think about this issue? Well,
I think you're right. I mean, I've got 3 young children and I'm really concerned about... I mean, they're too young to be on social media, but I'm really concerned about what lies ahead for them. I'm not sure I support what Australia's doing, not because I don't think it's a good idea to ensure that age verification is right. I'm just not sure that the age 16 is appropriate. But that's progress. If we effectively, as I do, accept the point that we need some sort of control, then we can move to a proper debate about whether that's 16, 14, 13, whatever it may be. And, of course, there are age restrictions on things like Facebook. I think, from memory, it is 13.
Yes, but it's a tick box.
But it's a tick box, so all you can do is you can just knock. If you're 11 years old, you can just predate your date of birth by 2 years, and you can get on. I think what Australia is proposing is interesting because it will stop young people, maybe without their parents' knowledge, short-circuiting the system because they're going to be asking for proper age verification and ID. That's definitely something we should do in the UK because it's enforced in the existing law. Query, is 16 the right age, Miriam?
I completely agree with it. It's something I actually said should have been done before. And I think what is good about it is that for a long time, a lot of governments have been saying that the actual social media companies should take more responsibility, but they're not going to because it hurts their bottom line. The most voracious users are younger users. So they will pledge that, oh, I'll put the tick box in, but the kid is the one who's going to actually tick the box. So doing something like this is saying that, OK, we will put in legislation that damages your bottom line. And I think it will force the hand because they've said it's only 12 months and they will reevaluate it.
GB News, the People's Channel.
It's 9 p.m. I'm Josh Howie. Tonight, first up, Bear Grylls has been labelled embarrassing after saying Mary was a Palestinian refugee in a Christmas message to his followers. I'll get into that with tonight's monologue. On a lighter note, as many enjoy a Christmas tipple today, I'll be joined in the studio by a cocktail expert to make some festive drinks. And we'll also be getting the latest on what you've been watching on TV this Christmas. And don't miss my festive quiz. You can follow along with us and see how many you get right. We've got a big, fun show coming up, but first, your news headlines with Tatiana Sanchez.
Good evening. The top stories from the GB newsroom this Christmas Day. His Majesty the King has delivered his Christmas message, emphasising the importance of community, compassion and service amid a turbulent year for both he and the Princess of Wales, who had their own health battles. In a break from tradition, King Charles delivered this year's Christmas speech from the Fitzrovia Chapel, a former hospital in central London. It's the first time in over a decade it hasn't been recorded at a royal residence, with the King choosing to praise the community response to the anger and lawlessness of this summer's riots in towns and cities around the UK, and also to the selfless doctors and nurses who provided strength, care and comfort to both him and the Princess of Wales during their cancer treatments.
From a personal point of view, I offer special heartfelt thanks to the selfless doctors and nurses who this year have supported me and other members of my family through the uncertainties and anxieties of illness, and have helped provide the strength, care and comfort we have needed. I am deeply grateful too to all those who have offered us their own kind words of sympathy and encouragement.
This morning, the King attended the royal family's traditional Christmas Day church service. The King and Queen Camilla walked the short distance from Sandringham House to St Mary Magdalene Church past a crowd of well-wishers. They were joined by the Prince and Princess of Wales and their children. The Princess Royal and the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh also part of that walking party. Absent, though, was the Duke of York, who's been accused of having links to an alleged Chinese spy. The Archbishop of York emerged smiling from his Christmas Day service in the North Yorkshire city to greet well-wishers and tourists outside the Minster. The Archbishop of York, who will effectively take over as leader of the Church of England next month, has called for change in his Christmas sermon. Stephen Cotterill delivered his remarks as the Church faces criticism over failures in its handling of various abuse scandals. Archbishop of Canterbury Justin Welby resigned last month after he was criticised for not doing enough to stop a prolific abuser. Earlier this week, Mr Cotterill acknowledged that things could have been handled differently after revelations that a priest at the centre of a sexual abuse case was twice reappointed under him while he was serving as Bishop of Chelmsford. GB News can confirm that at least 350 migrants have crossed the English Channel in small boats so far this Christmas Day. Several boats were seen making the dangerous journey from France this morning, with more expected to follow over the course of today. Those who arrived in Dover following early hours crossings broke a period of more than a week when no small boats had been spotted. And this comes after GB News exclusively revealed yesterday that thousands of migrants were massing along the northern coast of France, preparing to cross to the UK over the Christmas period. Swimmers across the nation have braved the chilly waters as they celebrated Christmas Day with a festive plunge. Many of those swimmers turned out in support of various charity causes, with others simply enjoying a festive tradition. Sea surface temperatures across the country were between 8 and 11 degrees Celsius, according to the Met Office. But plucky bathers, including many dressed as Father Christmas, snowmen and elves, woke up extra early to take the plunge in Bournemouth, if you're watching these pictures on television. The enduring Peter Pan Cup was also strongly attended in London's Hyde Park, with swimmers taking part in the world's oldest annual swimming event. And those are the latest GB News headlines for now. I'm Tatiana Sanchez. More from me in an hour.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Today is a special day, even more so than normal. Of course, it's Christmas, the most important day of the year for Christians and toy shops. But also, sunset heralded the start of the Jewish festival of Hanukkah, beloved by candle makers. We Jews have a lot of candles to light over the next 8 days. Because Jewish festivals follow the lunar calendar and shift each year in comparison to the Gregorian, that makes tonight a rare and special confluence of the two religious holidays. The last time Christmas and Hanukkah coincided was 2005. It only happens about 5 times a century. But this year, it's particularly poignant to me as a Jew for 2 reasons. Let's start with the nice stuff. It's been a tough year or so for my people. The evil committed on October 7th last year in Israel, the over 100 hostages still held in Gazan dungeons, including a baby, and closer to home, a tripling of anti-Semitic incidents over here in the UK, over 300 of which were physical assaults. But through this difficult time, some of our greatest allies who've marched with us, protested with us, supported us, have been Christians. Jews are not even a half of 1% of the UK's population. So this support is massively appreciated and frankly needed. And I want to say a big thank you. I'm British, raised in a Christian country. I went to Christian schools. And so to my understanding, you are the best of what Jesus was about. Standing up for tolerance and compassion and for what's right and fair, defiant in the face of injustice, which also resonates with the central tenement of Judaism of tikkun olam, that we have a responsibility to repair the world, to make it better. Of course, these connections aren't a coincidence. Jesus was a Jew, the most famous Jew after Adam Sandler. He was a rabbi. His first followers, the first Christians, were Jews. Like him, they kept kosher and were circumcised and didn't call their mother enough. They also, like Jesus, celebrated Hanukkah. But Hanukkah isn't technically one of the major Jewish holidays. It celebrates the Maccabean revolt and victory against the Greek-Syrian Empire, who'd temporarily taken over Judea a couple of hundred years before Jesus was born. Hanukkah translates as dedication in Hebrew, a language that Jesus spoke, and refers to the lighting of the menorah in the temple in Jerusalem. It's a holiday of defiance, of Jews fighting against the attempted erasure of our peoplehood, of fighting for the right of self-determination in our indigenous homeland, which is the definition of Zionism, by the way. It's a Zionist holiday. It's somewhat fitting then, given the support of many Christians, that Hanukkah's increased prominence in the Jewish calendar is a direct result of being so close to the biggest Christian celebration. In the crucible of 19th and 20th century America, Christmas and Hanukkah both revolved around one another, and as the traditions of one coalesced and formed, so the other responded in kind. An example of two cultures affecting each other, but still maintaining their distinctiveness, still putting out positivity. That sounds like the world being made better to me. Which makes me sad that there are people still acting in Jesus' name who are doing the opposite. Historically, this is nothing new. Great crimes have been carried out against Jews in his name over the last 2 millennia. And on this holiday of defiance and this holiday of celebrating Jesus' birth, I won't allow people to use Christianity to further attack Jews and, worst, to try and erase us. Yesterday, Bear Grylls put out this video to promote his new book.
This bit of the story is set in a place in Palestine, first century Palestine, called Bethlehem. And this is first person, this part of the story, from a young, scared, poor young girl called Mariam. And this is part of her story.
He accompanied it with this post on X. So, here's a little history lesson there. Here are some facts. Firstly, this time, 2,000 years ago, Mary wasn't a Middle Eastern refugee. She was a Jewish woman from Judea travelling for a census, whose husband had forgotten to go on booking.com. Her name wasn't Mariam. That's an Arabization of the name, which is a whole peninsula over. At the time, she would have been called Miriam. By the way, Bethlehem was a Jewish city. It's also the birthplace of David. And only 1,000 years later and more, due to colonization, did it become an Arab Christian city. In 1950, it was nearly 90% Christian. Now, it's about 10% Christian. What happened to all your fellow Christians, Bear? In fact, the only growing population of Christians in the entire Middle East is where? Yes, Israel. And no, Bear, Miriam wasn't Palestinian. The region was renamed Syria Palestina over 100 years after Jesus' death by the Roman Empire in an effort to erase Jews, just as you're doing now. So, to you out there, Christian friends and allies, I'd like to wish you a heartfelt and joyous Merry Christmas. But to Bear and people like you who try to use our own history against us to rewrite facts, to try and erase us, as many, many others have tried and failed to do, Happy Hanukkah. Woo! There we go. That was me just writing in anger all day. That's my Christmas. Welcome, on a very more positive note, to my wonderful panel here. We have political commentator Emma Wolf, there she is, sorry, commentator Ingrid Tarrant, we're switching around, and trade unionist Andy Twelves. Welcome, guys. This feels like my Christmas posse.
Yeah.
We all work together. Every year we're here at Christmas. You're dressed all beautifully. You've come in red to match the sofa and Santa, of course. Did you have a nice morning? Everything been OK so far?
Yeah.
Great morning, great morning.
OK, I can't say what happened to Andy, but it was bad.
It was not great, it was not great. It was a good morning. It was a good morning.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
I learned something. Okay. Families are exhausting.
They are very, very, very exhausting. Yes, I know.
Until they grow up,
well,
and then it becomes much easier.
Yes, well, that's it. Well, we're in the middle of the young one. Any thoughts, particularly on that monologue? I don't know, did you see, Emma, did you see when Bear posted the...
Yeah, I did, and I'm glad that you set him straight on a few facts there. I think it's really lovely and really poignant, and I didn't know that Hanukkah and Christmas didn't always coincide. I think it's lovely, especially this year, that they do, and I really love what you say about the kind of the solidarity and the feeling of compassion and sort of love between Jews and Christians, because that's how it should be. And, you know, the fact that you can be part of such a tiny, tiny, tiny minority in this country, such an important minority, and still feel completely part of it and welcomed and everything.
Yeah, which is where it's sort of integration at its best, arguably.
And that's what Christmas and Christianity should be about, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Andy, I mean, do you have any particularly strong feelings about it? Are you a big fan of Bear Grylls? Like I see, you've got a bear-like look about you.
Looking a bit like a bear today. But no, I mean, I didn't know he'd put out a book, I'll be honest, because my knowledge of Bear Grylls is very limited to his early 2010s survival kind of programmes. But I think from what it seems, he's trying to write some fictionalised version of the Bible.
Yes, exactly.
But, I mean, if you're seriously going to get your history from an old Etonian TV pundit, you don't care about the facts that much. Do you know what I mean? I think if anyone was taking that as the kind of, this is what happened, this is what history is like, they're in a bad place to start with. So, God forbid.
But Ingrid, I don't know if you spend much time on social media, but this is the problem, is that this erasure has been happening so much, where there's this constant narrative now being put forward that Jesus was Palestinian. There was also the Pope who went to see, little baby Jesus, and what are they called? Where the little models and
the manger.
The manger. Yeah, exactly. But the Jesus was in a kafir, like in the crib. And it's this constant sort of rewriting of history forget even the Jewish element of it. This rewriting of history is sort of across the board.
Well, I've never heard that Jesus, or people thinking that Jesus might be Palestine or Muslim. He's always been Jewish. That's what I've grown up to be. But the saddest thing is, it's not about Jews and Christians and conflicts here. We should all unite, because there's more that joins us than divides us, and that's Hinduism, the Muslims, Jews, Christians, and then within the Christians there's the Catholics and the Church of England, which have slight differences, but nonetheless. It's just the extremes, the extremists that really raise it and take it just too far. And really, I blame all the leaders, because I don't think there's any one person, young man, that's going out there to fight, that wants to fight and die. Because that's almost sort of like, it's not a guaranteed certain death, but that is the potential.
Well,
you're lucky to come back alive.
You could argue that it's not necessarily the religion, there are cultural elements.
I think religion's being used. I do think it's being totally used and abused in that way. And we are peaceful people. Human nature is kind, giving, caring.
Well, that's interesting you say that.
But this demonstrates it all, this coming together.
Can I just, if I may, it's just when believe it or not, I actually trained to be a rabbi, and that was one of my feelings. And I remember having these conversations with this rabbi and saying, no, why do we need religion in that way? Why do we need... And basically putting forward the argument that you said. I said, human beings, we know what's right, no, not to murder. He said, no, if you look at what life was like before religions as we know it now, there were the gladiators, people murdered. This idea of some inherent morality is actually, this is what was argued, is false. And that's why you need religion. I know it's very fashionable now to sort of bash religion, but having a framework of morality, and there's a great book, Dominion, which also argues the same thing. It's just that we take it for granted because we've been raised in these Judeo-Christian societies.
Well, it's the Ten Commandments. Don't you think it comes down to the Ten Commandments? And that is the line that we follow, and that is our moral compass, the right, the
wrong. But before that, and for the people who don't have that morality as we know it, isn't inherent. And I think that's the point, is that we kind of, in the West, take it somewhat for granted that we have this inherent morality. Well, actually, that framework is kind of imbued within us from school and onwards.
Well, I think one interesting thing that I picked up on, I think it was today or yesterday, was the new Syrian administration. Obviously, you've had the coup over the last week or so, and the ridding of Assad after so many years of that kind of dynasty. They've today announced that today, the Catholic Christmas Day, is a public holiday for them, which I thought was extremely funny, because obviously they're fundamentalist Muslims, but even they go, well, the Abrahamic kind of precedence sits above it all, and no, we should be respecting the Catholics. I thought that was just interesting to see.
Because you've seen a couple of, I believe, in some of the Christian towns, there were Christmas trees that were burnt down, and this new leadership have come in and condemned it and said, no, it wasn't us, and actually replaced the trees. Now, that is a good sign, a good sign of tolerance. Now, we don't know, of course, they come historically from an Islamist background, and Al-Qaeda and offshoots and whatnot. So we'll see how that plays back. It could be that they're just like the Taliban. When they came back in, they were like, oh, no, we're going to keep everything cool and now you see how they're treating women. It's disgusting and insane. But I'm an optimist, and hopefully that is the sign of things moving things in the right direction.
I think we've all got to work so hard together on this, and just really... It's peace. It's being peaceful, and this is the time of year to recognise that as well. Brings it home.
Bringing it back to Bear, What do you think his options are moving forward? I mean, do you think he's going to apologise? Do you think, because he's been ratioed a lot online? I know that doesn't necessarily affect real life, but it shows that there are people fighting back against the narrative he's putting out there. Is this just some innocent mistake that he went on Wikipedia, which we know is kind of like sort of owned and corrupt, badly edited, and what?
Really thought about
or it seemed like, but it felt to me the way that in his fuller video message he put out that he was really making a point, Mariam and Bethlehem and whatever, and really sort of pushing and Palestine. He was like, these were words that he was emphasising to make a point.
It seems really odd, and it seems really kind of slightly baffling to me where this comes from with Bear Grylls. I mean, we know him for Survivor, and where does this all...
Well, I believe... Didn't he christen Russell Brand?
Did he?
That's my understanding of it.
Did he?
Yeah, that's my understanding of it, yeah.
When?
A slightly tangent. In a river.
He's doing it all the time.
In a river. I will never recover from
I could be wrong with that, but I'm
in a pair of Y-fronts standing in that river.
Oh, really? Yeah. That was traumatising for you.
When was this? Was this recent?
A few months ago?
Yes, I think it was a few months ago. I'm pretty sure.
It was like a rebirth, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like.
It was like.
My sins are now absolved.
But as a writer,
how lucky.
I don't think the women would agree with that one, but you know.
Sorry.
No,
allegedly.
Yeah.
I've read a little bit of this, and I would say, as a writer and as a former publisher, I wouldn't encourage Bear Grylls to continue his writing career, particularly.
Yeah, well, but then he is a bestseller.
And as you know, the facts are not all there either. But I mean,
well,
in terms of writing talent,
does anybody really know the facts? He sees it that way. You see it another way. I don't know which way I see it because I keep looking into the history of Israel, Palestine, divisions, Syria, and how it was all one, and then the divisions and so on and so forth, going back to 1 BC and then tracking it all the way through. I am so confused. I am so muddled. I can't tell the difference at one stage between Judaism, Christianity, and Islam.
Also, we're not reading them in the original text.
We're
not reading, and we're
exactly
waiting.
Right. And look at the way that just look at the four.
I'd agree that it is complicated, but it's not that that means that there's a blurring of actual facts. Like what it was called, that land at the time was called Judea, and the fact is it wasn't referred to by Palestine. If you had said to Jesus, he wouldn't know what the word Palestine meant.
He doesn't speak English, did he? So
well,
he wouldn't.
But there was a time when Jews and Arabs lived side by side, and actually very much so with Palestine. There's an awful lot of mixed marriages.
Yeah, well, I mean,
so,
Jews have always lived in that region. There's also, unfortunately, Jews were attacked by Mohammed. Anyway, the good news is we're going to have a little break now, and I'm going to explain everything to you, Ingrid.
Oh, OK.
Right, we all love a Christmas cocktail, don't we? But that shouldn't be what affects us as we actually going to start drinking this season. I've already been drinking now, obviously, as you can tell. Up next, I'm going to be making some festive cocktails with legendary mixologist Mario Lasanere. I hope I can say that right. Don't go anywhere. See you in a sec.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
My next guest knew George Carman rather intimately. Indeed, he immediately asked her for her hand in marriage when they first met. Karen Phillips knew Carman from 1986 and was a close friend until his death in 2001. Karen has used court transcripts and personal documents to construct her new book, Get Carman. There it is. And here you are. Karen, thank you very much indeed. So you knew him very well, and actually he began to write a little bit of an autobiography just in the weeks before his death. And from those pages, I was struck by the amount of uncertainty that there was about the man. This man who was so confident in court, who charmed juries so famously, but in some ways felt that he was an actor, in some ways felt that he was fighting back nerves and uncertainties. Is that true?
I think he was quite worried about every case. It was much more that he was concerned for the client. He always wanted to do his best. He worked so hard to win a case, not really for his personal satisfaction, but because he didn't want to let people down.
His success rate was extraordinary, and, you know, I'll choose my words carefully here, but shall we say that many people were surprised at the time that Jeremy Thorpe was found not guilty. It was astonishing in the case of Jonathan Aitken, for example, that the principal charge against him, which was that he'd been corrupt in arms dealings, I don't think that was ever actually reached during the court. It seems even more surprising today that people who were employed by Mohammed Fayed were believed in the case of Neil Hamilton. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, his results are extraordinary.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, Will, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
If you want your news to be straight talking...
This is a nightmare for the Conservatives again.
Down to earth.
It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it?
And most importantly, honest.
Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get the book thrown at them.
Then catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Every Saturday, 10 till 12, we'll bring you all of the news that you need to know. We'll also remind you that there is so much to smile about.
It's my favourite time of the week. I get to relax, enjoy some light-hearted stories, and let Ellie teach me about fashion too.
That's Saturday Morning Live, every Saturday, 10 till 12.
Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Now, I'm sure many of you have indulged in a festive drink or two. Perhaps you've savoured a warm mulled wine, raised a glass of celebratory bubbly, or maybe even treated yourself to a Christmas cocktail. Well, joining me now is legendary mixologist Mario Lacerne to show us how to make some festive cocktails. Once I've drunk those cocktails, I'll be able to pronounce it correctly. Mario, welcome. Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Merry Christmas. I'm very glad to be here. So today I'm here for representing the Cocktail Lab, which is a nice company who's delivering cocktail to your step door. I mean, our aim is to deliver such a 360 experience. You know, we collaborating with...
What's a 360 experience?
Yes, definitely. Yes,
what does that mean? Just everywhere? What, you mean like swirling around you? The cocktail's going to be so good that you're just going to be spilling?
Yeah, we're providing whatever, you know, the client's needs.
Okay.
And we are delivering, you know, as I said, an experience. We're making such great cocktails. We're looking after the clients.
Okay. And how long have you been a professional mixologist?
I will say more than 10 years.
Okay, wow.
I will say more than 10 years. And I would like to talk more about the Cocktail Lab, which is the company that I'm currently working for. And so we are collaborating with a lot of mixologists, expert mixologists, I will say. And we do a lot of events, corporate functions, parties, Christmas parties, weddings.
Okay, so we got that. There we go. We've got the good stuff here. The Cocktail Lab. Now we're going to get on with the actual cocktails. Let's do it.
Absolutely. So I'm going to be making one of the most famous cocktail, which is classic Negroni.
Oh, yeah,
it's
Negroni,
also very, very Christmassy, I will say.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm going to be pouring some...
the Beefeater, this is great British.
Yeah, that's a nice gin.
Very thematic.
30 ml of such a nice gin.
And that's not watered down, that's the real stuff.
Absolutely not.
Nice. Okay, just check.
Then we have some red vermouth.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Italian red vermouth.
And is this all the way, is this a full shot or doubles or?
That's still 30 ml. It's going to be equal parts.
Equal parts, okay, fine. Cool. I've never made it this far. Normally I'm just passed out by now. I've had my one shot.
You must try it.
And then we got the Campari.
There we go, Campari.
Okay, equal parts, all three of them. Lovely. Yeah. And would you give this to a family member if you wanted them to just be quieter?
Just
possibly?
to be happy, I would say.
Oh, happier. Not if you wanted. I mean, if you wanted them to pass out in the corner and stop talking about politics, for example, would this be what you would give to them? Then they would get quiet.
Yeah, that's the right ring for them,
okay, fine.
to stop talking. Absolutely, yes. So,
okay, now we've got some ice.
Some ice.
This is pre-prepared.
Yes. We're gonna be doing everything a la minute.
Okay. What does a la minute mean?
Yeah. Just
like,
right in front of you.
Oh, I see. Okay, just to make sure. Very good. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not.
So I think it should be enough. So now I'm going to stir in order to add some dilution.
Okay.
Otherwise, the drink won't be, drinkable.
Okay. And can you tell me why did you get into this this business?
That's a good question.
No, you're not a Tom Cruise fan.
No. I got into this business because I remember the first time when I've seen bartender, shaking using these nice tools.
All about tools.
Yeah, I forgot.
Oh, what do you want to do to run and get something?
Yeah, missing something.
Okay. What are we missing? I can go grab.
I'm missing the strainer.
The strainer? Okay, I know what strainer I'm going. I'm going to go.
Please, sorry.
We're missing strainers. This is the problem. I don't even know where the strainer is. Can we use?
You know what?
Fingers?
I'm gonna do it without strainer.
Okay, we're going off piece. We're going off piece.
Goodbye.
All right, strainers.
So I'll use the scoop as a strainer.
So remember, that's the big hint at home. Make sure you have your strainer with you.
Yeah.
Look at that. He doesn't need the equipment.
So we also do some masterclass. So.
Okay, so people
you can learn, this kind of tricks just in case you're missing.
Is it mostly men who come to your class, sort of hoping to impress the ladies?
I would say yes.
Yes. Okay. Do you think it works? Well, alcohol always works.
Sometimes works, sometimes not.
Okay. So they definitely need a lot of ice here.
Definitely, yes.
And is this a particularly sort of? Do you think that you're at the bar? I mean, did you choose this today because it's red? The Christmas vibe?
I've chosen this one because it's very popular, because it's an Italian cocktail.
Okay.
So I'm gonna use just some fresh rosemary in order to.
Okay. It's leftover if you've been cooking lamb today.
More Christmassy and also some cranberries.
Brilliant.
So here we go.
And there it is. We're going to show that.
You want to have just a little sip?
Yeah, have a little sip. What do you think? More than that will.
Yeah, so I was telling you, I've chosen this cocktail because it's very popular. It's Italian.
Yeah.
It has been invented in Florence, 1919. So it's also very, very old. And it's also one of my favorite
I think it's working. I think it's... yeah.
It's good, as appetizer, or better, as aperitif cocktail.
Okay.
Or after dinner.
You're looking pretty good right now.
It can be drunk, anytime, I will say.
Yes, I don't know how the rest of the show's going to go with this on me.
Please don't get drunk.
Don't get I think that's what the audience. That's what you want to see at home, do you? Come on, be wasted. But this is It's very, very delicious. So, are you working a lot? Can I keep it here? I'll keep it here.
Let me make sure that I made it properly.
Oh yeah, you're going to test it as well. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Make sure I don't have a. It tastes very, very good. I mean, I'm liking it, and I'm feeling warm inside. I feel friendly. I feel goodwill towards all human beings. So that's the job done. Alcohol. Thank you, alcohol, and thank you, Mario, very much.
Thank you for having me once again.
Have a lovely New Year's. That's going to be your big day of the year.
Thank you so much, guys.
All right. So time for the Great British Giveaway now, and your chance to become our biggest ever winner with an incredible £50,000 in tax-free cash. It's an amazing sum of money, and it could make your new year your best year. Here's all the details you need for a chance to make it yours.
It's our festive treat to you. Your chance to win an incredible £50,000 in tax-free cash. Our biggest ever Great British Giveaway. What would you spend £50,000 on in the coming year? Spectacular holidays? A brand new car? Home improvements? Or maybe you'd just like to save it for a special occasion? £50,000 is an amazing amount of money, and it could be all yours. For another chance to win, text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2. You can call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB10 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 6 p.m. on the 31st of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
This is Josh Howie tonight, only on GB News. Up next, we've got expert analysis of today's Christmas TV, and we can discuss how this can bring families together.
Hello there, good evening. Hope you enjoyed a wonderful Christmas. If you have further festive celebrations on Boxing Day, then many of us can expect quite similar conditions to what we've seen around today. We hold on to a very similar pattern with high pressure spreading its way in across southern areas of the UK. Meanwhile, this cold front is slowly slipping its way into the northwest, bringing more in the way of cloud and outbreaks of rain here. They'll push into parts of central Scotland into the early hours of Boxing Day morning, also into Northern Ireland as well. Generally further towards the south, staying drier, a few clear spells in there and some fog patches around also, but most of us certainly not seeing too chilly overnight and definitely frost free as we kick off Boxing Day morning. For the far north of Scotland, there will be a few brighter spells around on Boxing Day now that that cold front has slowly pushed southwards. Beyond them, a few showers still to cater for. The bulk of that rain will be light and patchy, but it is going to be across central areas of Scotland, spreading its way in for Northern Ireland first thing in the morning, hopefully drying up a touch here into the afternoon. The best chance of seeing some sunshine for parts of northeast England as well as northeastern areas of Wales. Otherwise, a lot of central and southern areas will see quite a lot of cloud throughout Boxing Day, so if you are heading out for a walk, whilst it will be dry in the south, generally quite grey skies for many of us. That picture will really continue right throughout the day. Temperatures, particularly to the southern end of this rain band, will be on the mild side for the time of year, topping up at around 10 to 11 degrees Celsius, but something cooler across the far north there, 7-8 degrees Celsius in the Western Isles and Northern Isles. If we fast forward to Friday, you'll notice there's not that much deal of a change. That rain band is still in play, weakening a touch, so it will be lighter and patchier for areas of Scotland. Generally quite cloudy once again for England, Wales and Northern Ireland. A few spots of drizzle are possible. Will the cloud eventually clear? Well, hopefully into Saturday, more of us should see a few more sunny spells around. Bye. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, Will, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi there, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and I'm going to take a second to tell you all about my show, Dubes & Co. We start off with the issues of the day. We then bring in both sides of the arguments. We get rid of the disrespect, and then you throw me into the mix. And trust me, I'll tell it exactly how it is. And then, of course, the magic ingredient, you at home. We mix it all together, and what have we got? In my opinion, the best debate show in town. Monday to Friday, 6 till 7 on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christie Tonight with me, Josh Howie. We Brits do love a bit of Christmas telly, don't we? Whether it's a festive special or a beloved classic we haven't watched since last year, many of us spend a good part of the day cozied up on the sofa, soaking in the magic of what's on screen. But what has been capturing your attention this year? I'm joined now by showbiz and TV commentator Hayley Sparks. Hayley.
Hello, happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas. You look wonderful, dressed up especially for us. Or not, or maybe this is, I mean, actually, you were probably just wearing this at home, weren't you? So...
Yeah, this is my Christmas Day outfit.
That's it. You didn't just sort of get out of your pyjamas and go, oh, I've just got to be on TV for 5 minutes and then get back into the pyjamas.
I am waiting to put my pyjamas on with the rest of my family, but I thought not just yet. So after this, they will be going on for sure.
Well, I appreciate that. So, you've been with your family today? Have you been watching television? Is that a busman's holiday for you?
I have. Well, I've actually been hosting Christmas today, so I've been heavily involved in the cooking and looking after people, but we have had the TV on, and I have also been devouring the TV guides to read up about everything that we've had. And my analysis is I think it's a pretty good Christmas Day. I think it's been a good mix, something for everyone. There's just so many like seasonal specials and things that people are talking about. The one that I've heard people talk about the most has to be Gavin and Stacey. Are you a Gavin and Stacey fan?
I gotta be honest, for me it's like...
Afternoon. And that was a really heartfelt, like deeply personal message this year. He showed his appreciation and thanks not only for the incredible doctors and nurses that have been looking after him, and of course he made reference to Kate, but also a thank you to the support that he's had from the nation and the love. And it was really nice for him to sort of talk from the heart, very personal message, and to show his appreciation and thanks. So I'm sure so many families will have sat down together to listen to our King, because that's such a big tradition, isn't it, on Christmas Day?
Absolutely. I mean, that's that time. It's very few occasions it seems like we are brought together as a nation in that manner. So of course it's important. And then, as you know, having the Christmas comedies as well is definitely part of it. Do you think, as an overall trend, though, TV was better back in the day? Or is that just sort of these halcyon memories, or do you think the quality has managed to maintain through the years?
I think they always pull out the stops for Christmas. This is when they have, you know, we've had Doctor Who today, Call the Midwife, Strictly Come Dancing, and we've had the British Bake Off a couple of days ago. So I think Christmas time, they really do plough so much into it because they know people are at home. It is a big part of Christmas Day. Of course, the viewing figures years ago were way beyond what we could expect to see now. However, what I think is so lovely about traditional TV at Christmas is we're so many of us now, we are guilty of being glued to our devices, or there might be teenagers, children in the family that are stuck on their phones in different rooms. And I think when the classics come on, we've had E.T. on in our house. We've been watching the Wallace and Gromit, the brand new animation, which seems to span across all generations. And I think it's those kind of shows that actually unite families, get us off our devices, get us talking. Maybe they're getting us laughing as well. So I think it still does have that big draw on Christmas Day, even though the viewing figures will be less than they used to be. I think a lot of people do sit down and watch.
I mean, that's the thing, though, isn't it? Finding this kind of cross-generational appeal entertainment is so hard. I imagine it's so difficult to make. We watched Home Alone the other night, and that was kind of the only time that I managed to actually get everybody in my family to be focused and watching the telly at the same time.
Yes, I love that they bring out those classics. So I know that Elf's been on, of course, Home Alone, as I said, Wallace and Gromit. Those are the kind of things that every member of the family can enjoy. And a little bit later, for the adults that are staying up, or the older children tonight, we've got like Notting Hill is coming on. I think that's always an absolute favourite. I can see on Netflix, The Holiday has been charting in the top 10. We've watched that.
That is a terrible movie. Don't mention that film. It's horrible.
It's a weird one because it's actually like the storyline is so weak, but there's something about it that people absolutely love.
Yeah, attractive movie stars.
Have you got a favourite Christmas film?
Die Hard. Obviously, that's the way it is. And of course, people will be watching at home GB News. I'm sure your family are watching you just next door, actually. So well done, you did a fantastic job. Merry Christmas. This is our showbiz and TV commentator, Hayley Sparks. Lovely to see you.
Happy Christmas.
And enjoy your pyjamas.
Thank you so much.
So here is the Vocal Zone Voice Studio Choir from South Derbyshire with Oh Christmas Tree.
Oh Christmas tree, oh Christmas tree, your branches so delight us. Oh Christmas tree, your branches so delight us. The green and slow, the days are bright, still green when winter snow is white. Oh Christmas tree, your branches so delight us. Oh evergreen, you bring to us such pleasure. Oh evergreen, you bring to us such pleasure. How often Christmas time spite of you, dear tree, gives us delight. Oh evergreen, you bring to us such pleasure.
You know, the producers of this show, they didn't want to put that in, but I insisted. I said, if I'm coming in on Christmas, I want to see some Christmas tree singing action. So we got it, and there it is for you. Still to come, myself and my superstar panel will compete in a special festive quiz. But first, if you are in search of some winter sun, here's the forecast for some top European holiday destinations.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Boxing Day across Europe looks very mixed. Windy in Italy, unsettled in Greece and Cyprus, mostly fine for Spain and the Canaries, but for Madeira we do have some showery rain and a strong wind blowing through here. A strong wind also for Gibraltar on Boxing Day, but otherwise sunny skies across Spain and Portugal. Windy for Italy, that wind is easing as this area of low pressure moves through. That's going to continue to bring heavy downpours and thunderstorms for Greece and Cyprus.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, Will, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
British 10-year-old has beaten Stephen Hawking and Albert Einstein in an IQ test, would you believe? Genius Krish Arora got the maximum score of 162, which puts him in the top 1% globally.
Goodness me. Well, Krish's parents noticed his brilliant potential after learning he could read fluently by the age of 4.
Krish, how does it feel to be a child genius?
I feel really happy and privileged.
Aww. Do you see it as a gift that you have?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just wonderful. Nichelle, what do you make of your child being a genius? When did it become apparent to you that Krish had something different, something special?
I think at the age of 4, he was doing things that were way beyond and above his age.
Yeah.
He could read fluently and he could spell correctly, and he was doing complex decimal divisions. So we thought that he's on to something. I think there's a spark out here.
Wow. And how are you reading books, Krish? Did you just pick them up from your mum and dad's bookshelf and just start reading to yourself?
We used to go to the library and we got books.
Such a good tip. Such a good tip as parents.
Yeah.
Head to the library, take your kids to the library.
So, Nichelle, can Krish just do it all? Is he just an all-rounder genius? Every subject, every talent He can do it all.
Absolutely, and he helps out the family as well. He's been teaching me grade 1 piano, and he hopes, and I repeat, he hopes that I'm going to complete it in 12 months' time. And he also helps out Mum, because when Mum is teaching his sister, Mum sometimes says, Krish, go solve that problem and, help your sister out. So yes, he can do it all.
Krish, you're a superstar.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, for a frank and honest discussion with those in power that cuts through the spin and gets to the heart of the issues shaping our nation.
You haven't confirmed that you want to stand as leader, but you haven't ruled it out either.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial. Is he indecisive? Incompetent? I deliver the dose of reality Westminster needs. That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. It's time for my Christmas quiz. Let's get started, shall we? I'm joined again by my festive panel, political commentator Emma Wolfe, commentator Ingrid Tarrant and trade unionist Andy Twelves. Do they have what it takes to get these questions right? Let's see. Question 1. In 2003, Christmas rom-com Love Actually, which character sang Christmas is All Around? The wedding singer, the Prime Minister, or Billy Mack? You guys, I'm assuming you've all seen this film many times, maybe too many times. Ingrid, you're looking... I want to come to you first because you're grimacing there. And have you seen Love Actually?
Yes, but I get confused and then they all merge into one and then it's like 4 weddings and a funeral, Love Actually, blah, 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 I don't know. Can I say what I think?
Yes, you may say what you think.
Prime Minister?
Oh, my gosh. People out there in TV land are screaming at you now.
I'm wrong.
Yes.
Isn't
It is wrong.
Isn't it Bill Nighy as the rock star?
Yes, so he would not be the wedding singer.
Billy Mack, isn't it?
Not the wedding singer.
Billy Mack.
It's Billy Mack, yeah. It's Billy Mack.
Was that Love Actually where he dances? Is that the
Yes, that is and that was his
I'm
sort
thinking
of
the dancing, not the singing.
Okay, no,
I'm in the wrong mode.
No, he was dancing and singing, but he was the sort. Oh yeah, the Prime Minister doing his thing at the end, which
Hugh Grant.
Yes,
thingy.
exactly. Got Martin McCutcheon, whatever. And look, you know what? I don't mind Love Actually. It's absolutely fine.
Well, it's just completely unrealistic in the sense that if a Prime Minister was door knocking, he'd ask, which way they were planning to vote. They wouldn't just get, he wouldn't just ask them whether or not a person lived there. Which way are you planning to vote?
We're seriously going to analyse that film. It is quite unlikely that the Prime Minister would fall in love with the tea lady.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, but I enjoy it.
Also, where are the Spads? Where are the Spads? He wouldn't have gone down the street. He would have said the Spads.
I'm enjoying watching you two try to analyse the reality.
Listen,
Love Actually is totally unrealistic. No, that's not how the Prime Minister...
You started that.
One down. OK, well, let's go to number 2 then. How many reindeer does Santa have? Okay.
I know this.
OK. Oh, yeah. I feel like I should go... Because you know it. You're like the kid in class who knows everything. That's the problem. But I'm going to go to Ingrid again.
Oh, not again!
Only because you're Norwegian. That's a little bit closer to the North Pole.
I know, but I still don't know. So Prancer, Blitzen,
something. That's the thing. Can you name them all?
That's next level.
Is it 8?
Comet, Cupid, Rudolph, Blitzen, Prancer, Dancer, Blitzen.
Andy looks...
I've seen the answer now. I've seen the answer now, just down the camera. The answer's 9. I would have said 11.
I wasn't including Rudolph.
It's 8.
You've got to remember Rudolph. Yes,
he's the goat. He's the
Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen,
the greatest of all time.
Cupid, Donna, Blitzen, Rudolph.
Donna and
Donna Cabal.
Of course, named after.
Yes, exactly. And now you've got your glasses on.
I know. Oh, I should have put them on to begin with. I think it made me look more intelligent.
OK, then. Well, I'm going to see if Ingrid... I just want to see if Ingrid gets anything right. That's all I'm here for. Question number 3. How many gifts in total were given in the 12 Days of Christmas song? Now, that might be a bit unfair, because, again, you're Norwegian. Did you have the 12 Days of Christmas song?
Oh, no, but we can work this one out.
No, this is going to take ages.
No, I think we can.
And then we have to count, and I'm not up for that.
I think we can. Let's just...
Look, Andy looks like, have you seen Beautiful Mind? He looks like he's kind of lost in some...
I was trying to... I think it's like 60.
60? Oh, wow.
I'm on 67.
I'm not going to forward the audio so you can't see what... No, OK, fine.
I'm not even going to try.
Can we get a rendition of the song? Do you want to harmonise together?
First day of Christmas, my true love...
Please stop. Right now.
That was great.
That was truly horrific.
That's accurate. That's historically accurate. You know, it's,
Emma's got a beautiful voice. OK, we're going to go now. It is 364.
Wow. Well, you see, we have to work it out.
Well,
12 and then the 11 and then the 10 and then we're how many times
so they've... I misunderstood the question. I thought it was, you know, like a Fibonacci sequence of 1 plus 2 plus 2.
Don't get technical on me.
This is. I'm going to dispute this. I'm going to dispute this. Because I assume the way they've come to this is that every verse they've counted it up, not just
Andy,
1 plus 2.
Word of warning. Have you seen our producer Keith? He's a hard man. And he'll take you down.
He will.
If you throw in his math skills, he's going to be coming in here and jumping. He's loaded from all those cocktails he's been having outside. Just say that that's the right answer.
Excitement over the Christmas period.
This is true.
I think you need a top up.
Question 4. What meat? Oh, we got meat. We need Lewis Schaefer for this one. What meat was traditionally served at Christmas before turkey?
No, I'm vegetarian.
Popular?
I bow out.
Pigs,
I don't know.
Pork.
Yes, pork makes sense, I guess.
Because you have a pig's like stuff.
Yes. OK. Yeah. That
well,
sounds
we
very
do pork on Christmas Eve. Sorry, you would never come to mind, but we could do fish. But yeah, it could be pork because it's a meat.
Please don't give me fish. But I will take the invite for Christmas because anything to not actually have to do the cooking myself would be very much appreciated. All right, we're going to go with pork. Let's see what it is. Goose.
Goose.
Oh. Goose.
Oh, of course.
Who knew? Yeah.
Silly.
Why are you saying of course?
You didn't say goose.
No, I didn't. But now I realise, and it's the answer that's so obvious when you.
It's not obvious. How's that obvious?
No, because because.
Totally baffled.
No, I have no idea. These are getting very tricky now.
Oh,
OK,
God,
we've got
honestly,
question
we're so thick, aren't we?
5. Oh, this is terrible. Right, we are really failing at Christmas.
Oh,
this
awful.
OK, which song... Oh, my gosh. OK, this is going to be tough.
I know
Andy's...
I know exactly which one this is.
You know that... OK, which song took the spot of Christmas #1 this year? Now, this year.
This year.
OK, you've got the answer?
It's Last Christmas by Wham. Because they did it... They were last year and this year. It's the first time that a non-charity single's been 2 years in a row.
Wow.
And was the second spot You're Freezing the Pensioners?
Yeah, I don't know if it made it. I don't know. Did it ever get played? Let's find out.
Oh,
see what the answer
brilliant.
is. It was Wham! Last Christmas. Look, Andy, look, it's very...
Because there was... this is really, really sad that I know this. So Lad Baby had dominance, you know, throughout the 2020s with their charity singles, and then people became disillusioned with Lad Baby and returned to the beauty of George Michael, as God intended, really.
Yes.
And now, you know, Wham! Have done it 2 years in a row, and for a third, I hope, next year.
And didn't Mariah Carey just break her own record? She knocked herself off the Billboard records with All I Want for Christmas Is You. I mean, these are great songs. Things like Last Christmas and All I Want for Christmas Is You. They're just brilliantly romantic, brilliant.
Do we have Hanukkah songs? Are there Hanukkah songs?
There's Adam Sandler did the famous Hanukkah song. That's really like about who's Jewish.
Sing it.
It's all very good.
He made us sing.
Hanukkah, oh Hanukkah, don't we love Hanukkah? Something like that. Anyway, I'll show you all in the break. Right, thank you very much to my panel. Political commentator Emma Wolf, commentator Ingrid Tarrant, and trade unionist Andy Twelves, who you want on your pub quiz team. Next, we'll be taking a look at Christmas messages from politicians across the globe. You don't want to miss it. First, the weather.
Even though we'll see a cloudy start, it'll be a bright outlook for the rest of the day. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Hope you enjoyed a wonderful Christmas. If you have further festive celebrations on Boxing Day, then many of us can expect quite similar conditions to what we've seen around today. We hold on to a very similar pattern with high pressure spreading its way in across southern areas of the UK. Meanwhile, this cold front is slowly slipping its way into the northwest, bringing more in the way of cloud and outbreaks of rain here. They'll push into parts of central Scotland into the early hours of Boxing Day morning, also into Northern Ireland as well. Generally further towards the south, staying drier, a few clear spells in there and some fog patches around also, but most of us certainly not seeing too chilly overnight and definitely frost free as we kick off Boxing Day morning. For the far north of Scotland, there will be a few brighter spells around on Boxing Day now that that cold front has slowly pushed southwards. Beyond them, a few showers still to cater for. The bulk of that rain will be light and patchy, but it is going to be across central areas of Scotland, spreading its way in for Northern Ireland first thing in the morning, hopefully drying up a touch here into the afternoon. The best chance of seeing some sunshine for parts of northeast England as well as northeastern areas of Wales. Otherwise, a lot of central and southern areas will see quite a lot of cloud throughout Boxing Day. So if you are heading out for a walk, whilst it will be dry in the south, generally quite grey skies for many of us. That picture will really continue right throughout the day. Temperatures, particularly to the southern end of this rain band, will be on the mild side for the time of year, topping up at around 10 to 11 degrees Celsius, but something cooler across the far north there, 7-8 degrees Celsius in the Western Isles and Northern Isles. If we fast forward to Friday, you'll notice there's not that much deal of a change. That rain band is still in play, weakening a touch, so it will be lighter and patchier for areas of Scotland. Generally quite cloudy once again for England, Wales and Northern Ireland. A few spots of drizzle are possible. Will the cloud eventually clear? Well, hopefully into Saturday, more of us should see a few more sunny spells around. Bye. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Imagine getting the call to tell you that you've won £50,000 in tax-free cash, our biggest cash prize of the year.
Oh my God.
That's a big surprise.
Oh my God. This is amazing.
I'm in shock.
I'd say don't hesitate, do it.
For another chance to win, text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2. You can call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB10 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 6 p.m. on the 31st of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
If you want your news to be straight talking, this is the nightmare for the Conservatives again. Down to earth. It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it? And most importantly, honest. Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them. They catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
This is Britain's Newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
It's 10 p.m. I'm Josh Howie. Tonight, we'll be taking a look at Christmas messages from politicians across the globe this Christmas. The cost of living has proven difficult for many this year, which is leading to some to come up with new ways of grifting. But is it okay to re-gift presents? And it's been a difficult year for Britain's royal family in 2024, with 2025 expected to be another packed year for the royals. We'll be joined by royal commentator to give us a roundup of the year. And don't miss my festive quiz. You can follow along with us and see how many you get right. Now, it's been a year like no other. There's been lots of news of war and political turmoil, but I've also been fortunate enough to meet many of you out there, our viewers, and share your stories. And this morning, people worldwide are coming together to share glad tidings and joy with loved ones. Politicians have also been releasing their festive messages, with many calling for prosperity and peace. Here is the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer.
This Christmas, people will be travelling up and down the country, heading home, visiting relatives and loved ones, to celebrate together the hope and joy of this special season. It's a time to remind ourselves what's really important: family, friendship and fellowship between all people, being there for one another in these celebrations as well as the more difficult times. I'd like especially to thank those who will spend their Christmas serving others this year, in our NHS and emergency services, our armed forces, and the churches and charities that will welcome every person this Christmas. Because I know this is not an easy time for everyone. And my thoughts are with all those who are lonely this Christmas, having a tough time, missing a loved one. You are not alone. Because as Christians celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ, the Christmas story reminds all of us to reach out to one another, to care for one another, and to look after those around us. This Christmas, I will be hoping for peace, particularly in the Middle East, as the birthplace of the Christmas story. I'll be looking towards a better, brighter future for every person, and celebrating the joy and wonder that Christmas brings. So, from my family to yours, I hope you have a very Merry Christmas.
Political commentator Emma Wolfe, commentator Ingrid Tarrant, and trade unionist Andy Twelves join us in the studio. Let's go to you, Emma. What do you think of that?
I'm sorry, but these messages, of course, they're, you know, full of peace and joy and world prosperity and all of that. People like Starmer, and actually King Charles as well, in his message, they're feeling increasingly out of touch with real people who are actually day-to-day, I know I'm being boring and going back to politics, day-to-day unable to get an NHS appointment, day-to-day unable to pay for their fuel bills, unable to meet the rising food prices.
This is basic stuff, right?
Basic stuff that is that is people's daily lives. And you see Starmer there in front of a glittery tree saying, well, you know, that speech could have been given by any Prime Minister over the past 20, 30, 40 years. It's the same old stuff. You know, hoping for peace around the world, thinking of loved ones, thinking of the people that we miss, blah, 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 blah. And then you see what his government has done over the past 4 or 5 months. I don't think people are going to be taken in by it anymore.
Well, I wonder, Andy, how much of this sense that you get from that is just because he just feels like a bad communicator. He feels so robotic.
I think...
And it makes the messages robotic.
Well, not really. It's just, as Emma said, it's the same spiel. You know, you've got this, 6 or 7 different tick boxes that you've got to get through in the message. It's just a part of modern political communicating. I think if you're taking this as this is serious political messaging, then you need to get a bit of a grip. But I do question about, Emma's like, when David Cameron was delivering this whilst Osborne was putting in the austerity cuts, would you have given the same criticism?
I think it's been starker this time. I think it's been starker
What are you talking about? What? No, the austerity cuts were some of the worst measures that working-class people have ever had forced upon them. And you're saying that the 4 months of the Starmer government is worse?
I'm saying...
You talk about out of touch.
I'm talking...
You? That's insane.
It's Christmas, guys.
What an insane thing to say.
I think the difference...
Are you genuinely serious?
Yeah, I'm genuinely serious.
You're genuinely serious?
I'm genuinely serious.
That the austerity cuts were better than this?
No, the delivery of how...
Are you kidding?
How we had to swallow the austerity cuts.
I think people are waking up at home. This is great telly. But, Andy, just to say what I think the reason might be is because those cuts came at the beginning.
I'd let Emma hear it. Well, it was throughout. It was throughout the 6 years.
My explanation would be, and I will get, would be that at the time, those were the beginning of the cuts, and it feels like we are cut to the wick now by the Tory government, and now we're being cut even further where there really is nothing left. But that's my interpretation. Emma, please provide
I'm just saying it felt an extremely stark moment within weeks of coming to power, cutting £300 for poorer pensioners to be cold this Christmas, and then we have Starmer sitting there in a lovely warm house. I wonder whose house he's in, but we'll leave that one.
Very good.
Sitting there in front of a sparkly tree, delivering this message. A lot of people are suffering right now. I'm not defending the previous cuts of the Tory government.
You make all these little jabs about Starmer, but then, you wouldn't say this about the Tories. Boris Johnson, I've been on programmes with you before.
Words in my mouth.
Well, I've been on programmes with you before where you almost worship the man. With the corruption that happened under his government during COVID, did you call that out? Did you call out Michelle Moan's corruption?
Of course I did. Of course I did.
You're making this bizarre statement. Every single Prime Minister is obviously out of touch because they're on, 130 grand. They're living in central London, paid for by the taxpayer.
Actually,
of course they're out of touch.
They are. all
what
out
a
of touch.
silly thing to say.
Matter which party they come from, they are actually
Well, it's
all
not that it's a silly thing to say, but
it is a silly thing to say.
But the point is, okay, well, if their messages are always going to be out of touch, then it's not that it's a silly thing to say, but it's a thing that always has to be pointed out. I'd like to move on to Kemi Badenoch, and the reason why is because, and I haven't seen this message yet, is I wonder if, I just wonder if she's a better communicator. I'll be interested to see if there's a bit more humanity from her. We will see. Let's roll it.
Christmas is my favourite time of year. So many of the things I love happen in December. Having lots of family around, seeing my friends, eating, drinking, having fun, making merry. It's absolutely the very best time. And I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you to everyone, not just in the Conservative Party or in my constituency, but across the country, for all that you have been doing in your communities, supporting each other and helping to keep all our towns, villages and places going. I think that Christmas is a time for us to reflect on all that's happened in the year. Sometimes we have amazing years. Sometimes, like when I lost my dad, we have difficult years and we're commiserating, but we do it together. But it's a time for us to support all of those people who need our assistance, who need our help, who need our support. And that's one of the best things about Christmas, that it isn't just about all of the things that we love and want to do, but thinking about other people. And so my message to everyone this Christmas is have a happy one, but also remember all of the people who might be in your community or even in your family who need your support, and let's not forget them either. And I'm looking forward to 2025. I wish you all the very best for the new year and all of the exciting things to come. Happy Christmas.
I'm going to go to Ingrid first. I will say, by the way, that is Kemi Badenoch. That's actually in her house. That's how it's... No, I'm joking.
That backdrop is vile.
Now, that felt more authentic to me. Ingrid, what did you think about it?
I didn't think it did.
Okay. You thought she was more professional, but it didn't...
Do you know,
connect with
I
you?
felt that it was a little bit strung out, that she had to speak for... I don't know how many minutes that ran for, but let's say it ran for 2 minutes. It should run out after 1 minute 50 seconds.
OK.
And had to drink out. Do you know, with both of them, with Starmer and with her, I just felt that it was head, reading, and no passion. It's not coming from the heart. And so we were talking about being out of touch. They are out of touch. They are delivering what is expected. It's the normal thing, tick boxing, as I think you were saying, or you were saying. They've got to do all this and mention that. Hers wasn't quite so political. It was much more general about family and you know, kindness and goodwill to all people. I wasn't convinced with either of them.
Emma,
No, I actually really...
Say something that's going to make Andy angry.
It won't be hard if I just open my mouth. I actually really disagree, Ingrid, respectfully.
OK, no, all right.
With love.
No,
that to me felt really much more natural.
It felt warm.
Yeah, it felt warmer, but also because she was a bit rambling, she was rambling on a bit, she wasn't very focused. It felt like she wasn't actually reading off an auto cue. It felt like she was just talking. And she decided. I hated the backdrop. I'll give you that. I hated the backdrop. I don't know what was that, floral? What was all that?
I think it was John Lewis.
Candles and stuff. She was just standing in outside.
I don't know if it was John Lewis. I think she was standing
I loved her coat, by the way.
Store. Yeah.
But no, to me, it felt much more authentic. The fact that she referenced, you know, losing her dad. She referred to losing her dad.
See, that for me, I've got to be honest, I didn't.
That too much?
Yeah, I was just like...
I didn't like that at all. I think it's good.
I'm sorry that she lost her dad, but I just feel like that felt...
But I think her point was sometimes you just have a rubbish year. And I think that was kind of her point. To me, that felt more natural than Starmer.
Now, Andy, I could see that you want to vote for her now, right?
I didn't feel leadership qualities coming out of that.
I don't know. What do you think, Andy? Were you convinced?
I mean, they've not had a very good year, have they, the Tories? So I suppose she was speaking from the heart there. But, you know, she's the leader of the opposition. Like with the Prime Minister, it's expected. It's not a serious piece of political messaging. I thought, actually, something... The hot take, Andy endorses the Tories here, but I thought the fact that they had the video cuts in there, the change of angle, was quite a nice touch, rather than just the one view. I thought that was quite nice. But,
yeah, fair enough.
The content, who cares?
OK, well, fine. Well, look, let's have a look.
What did you think, by the way? Because you hadn't seen
I liked it. I thought it was better. I mean, look, I'm a bit of a fan of hers, so I thought it was pretty good. But the thing is, you are having whoever it is ticking these boxes. We're going to see what Sir Ed Davey, I should say, sorry, leader of the Liberal Democrats, is doing. It's probably some sort of dancing. Let's find out.
behalf of everyone at the Liberal Democrats, can I wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas. I hope you're enjoying this wonderful time of year with your loved ones, the lights, the gifts, the songs. This year, I've had the chance to spend time with some amazing young carers, incredible young people who will spend this Christmas doing what they do all year round, looking after loved ones who are ill or disabled. Carers embody the Christmas spirit of love, selflessness, and generosity. So I hope we can all take some time to think of them and keep them in our hearts, and wish them and everyone a Christmas full of peace, joy, and love. Or, as St. Nicholas said,
Happy Christmas to all. And to all a good night.
It started so well.
It started badly with that jumper.
Well, you say that. I mean, there could be an argument that was a work of genius.
What was worse, the jumper or the tree?
Well, I think the tree was just such a... That's a class...
That's a fake tree.
Yeah, you know... Oh, yeah, of course it's a fake tree, but, like, to deliberately put a rubbish tree in...
Really?
It's like,
It was that
we're just
big.
like you guys.
It had, like, 3 baubles on it. It didn't even have... No, it was awful, and the jumper was worse.
Really? OK.
Do you know, I think he's got a little bit of a thing going here, and I'm actually beginning to get amused by him.
Hilarious, man.
I actually am. This is so different.
Please never come to my comedy shows.
Well, perhaps you should. No, seriously, it was so different. It was unexpected. And then all the snowy thing in the background, I think it shows a sense of humour. He'll never, ever be a leader of this country.
Well, then he could
stop.
Wait,
then
what?
what's the point?
He was a coalition
Well,
minister.
because he's there. He's got seats, and therefore he's representing the Liberal Party. But actually, I just found it quite amusing, and I felt more warmth coming out of him than the other two.
That's it. I mean, certainly in a real way. And I think in some ways, Annie, of course, you could argue it's exploitative, but carers are incredibly important, and it is nice to focus and give attention to them, right?
Yeah, and I think, you know, the campaign that he's been doing with the charity single, raising money for them, like, I think it's actually quite nice, and it's...
Well, that's close to his heart anyway.
And it's a good... I think it's a good use of his platform, honestly. You know, he's a national leader with, you know, a fair amount of MPs, not enough for him to be taken, you know, be preparing for government like the Conservatives would be. But I think it's a good use of his platform to be raising money and attention to a cause that is A, is important, and B, that he cares about, rather than putting his name to something that he's not really that bothered about.
It felt authentic and likeable.
He's not boxing.
Yeah, he did what he needed to do, and very good. Right.
Box ticking, I
Right,
should say.
let's find out.
Sounds like a kind of cocktail, doesn't it?
Let's see now about the leader of Reform UK. I know, who's that? Oh.
Was that it? No, great.
He's just a picture. He's just a picture. The thing is, actually, is that this is what Nigel dresses like just around the office.
Yeah.
This is what it is. So in a way that he didn't really make any effort there. This is on Instagram. It says, Merry Christmas, everyone. That is a fake child. I should point that out. No, I don't know who that child is. That a grandchild?
Well, the beard we know is fake. At least that.
So anyway, he looks like he's having fun. I do feel for him every year. My nursery, my children's nursery, would force me to dress up as Father Christmas. So I know that he's obviously very dedicated. If he's,
well, you know, he's got a, you know, it's good to see that him taking time off. You know, as director of Reform UK Limited, you know, the business affairs must be incredibly busy. So you know, it's good to see the CEO taking a day off.
I kind of wish that he had to put out a message, just because I think he is a really good broadcaster. Whatever, I don't agree with his political positions, a lot of them, but at the same time, I respect him as a broadcaster. I think he'd actually would put out. It would be interesting to see the contrast of him saying something authentic about issues.
He did on GBNews, didn't he? On his show, he did like a final show of the year, either yesterday or today or something.
Oh, sort of like the
and it was the this is.
I guess he gets to okay.
So I think he's got that platform. In fairness.
All right. Well, look, and then we're going to go now to President-elect. This is Donald Trump. Also took to Instagram to wish Americans a Merry Christmas. There he is. He's had his hair done. She's had her everything done, And
oh, meow! If
sorry, is that too catty? Meow! Sorry. She's very beautiful. Fine. But yes, they look pretty happy. That's, you know what? I'm getting a real kind of 80s vibe there. Getting a bit of a Reagan sensibility.
But it is Donald Trump.
This is it, but casting back to that.
I think it's very sophisticated.
I do too.
I like it.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Has Joe Biden put anything out? Leading
Yes.
the free world?
Yes.
Yeah, he just woke up and realised it's Christmas. And,
No, he did. He had a very bizarre drone video through the White House, like Christmas stuff, which was interesting. But like his voiceover to it was quite nice. It was very.
Was it him?
Yeah, it was just presidential. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean? How do I know?
Well, there's lots of good mimics.
Oh, I'm sure.
Wait, let's start with the conspiracy theories.
Well, honestly, but everybody's saying it's really in love.
How do you know that was Trump? How do you know that was Trump?
Well,
you know, so, you know.
Yeah, no, it's but yeah, no, it's a nice picture.
Great
He
picture.
can get it framed and put up somewhere.
Great.
I mean, these messages, as you say, I think the theme seems to be everyone needs to do their box ticking.
Yeah.
But it's feels to me like a somewhat wasted opportunity. If we had a politician who came along,
You keep saying that, and I agree. What do we kind of want them to say? We don't want them to use it as a political party broadcast. So what do we want them to say that would be more authentic, that doesn't refer to losing their dad or something that's too personal?
I want to see that. Okay, it would feel if they're at home and they're all just screaming at each other with their family.
Oh, okay. So you want to go in
something
their
like
home.
that, and just say, "Please vote me in, so you can get me out of here."
That's quite good. That's
something
quite
like
good.
that. Anyway,
Okay.
if there are any political.
But that's vote me in. You've just gone back to politics.
No, which is fine. But at least
would
it
you
comes
want
from an authentic
Prime
place.
Minister
Yeah,
to say?
but they are politicians. They're there because of that simply. So they've got to allude to it at the same time as Christmas. So it's getting that mix right, isn't it? But I think it should just be literally like a Christmas card. Happy Christmas.
Yeah.
Right.
New Year.
Me too.
But with just something there, just a little bit kind of
I'm your real
punchy.
father. OK. Time for the Great British Giveaway now, and your chance to become our biggest ever winner with an incredible £50,000 in tax-free cash. It's an amazing sum of money, and it can make your new year your best year. Here's all the details you need for a chance to make it yours.
It's our festive treat to you. Your chance to win an incredible £50,000 in tax-free cash. Our biggest ever Great British Giveaway. What would you spend £50,000 on in the coming year? Spectacular holidays? A brand new car? Home improvements? Or maybe you'd just like to save it for a special occasion? £50,000 is an amazing amount of money, and it could be all yours. For another chance to win, text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2. You can call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB10 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 6 p.m. on the 31st of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Gift giving is a big part of Christmas, but is it okay to re-gift? Join me next for a fiery debate to try and answer just that question. See you in a sec.
If you want your news to be straight talking, this is the nightmare for the Conservatives again. Down to earth. It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it? And most importantly, honest. Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them. Then catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Every Saturday, 10 till 12, we'll bring you all of the news that you need to know. We'll also remind you that there is so much to smile about.
It's my favourite time of the week. I get to relax, enjoy some light-hearted stories, and let Ellie teach me about fashion too.
That's Saturday Morning Live, every Saturday, 10 till 12.
Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Millions are struggling to stay warm with the wet weather, the cost of living and, of course, cuts to fuel payments.
Yes, winter is fast approaching, so it's crucial to find cost-effective ways to save on your energy expenses whilst staying reasonably warm.
So joining us to provide advice on heating your home, or at least staying warm somehow, is one of the leading voices on lowering energy bills, Nick Miles. And you are very welcome in here this morning. I mean, a lot of people say, well, in the olden days, you just used to put on an extra jumper. But actually, it's more serious than that, isn't it? What is the best way, the most cost-effective way to keep your home warm?
Some of the bigger things is we need to do more things on insulating our properties, but actually sometimes, it can be simple things like turning down a thermostat. Those that have got the luxury of being able to afford energy bills and keep their homes on the thermostat a bit too high, if you just turn it down by 1 simple degree, as long as you keep it between 18 and 22 degrees, can save up to 5 to 10% of your energy bill. So that's a kind of a very simple way of doing things, but, it can be other little tips and tricks you can do as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I always get it when people say about this, but like 18 degrees is not warm for a house.
No, and it's twofold actually. It's that kind of relative temperature, but also it's the kind of drafts and things you have in your house. So it's the comfort factor. So what we have a lot of old properties in our country. You've got some 8 million hard-to-treat properties built before World War II that have got poor insulation, but also very, very drafty. So it's the temperature and it's the kind of the draftiness of them that kind of keeps us uncomfortable.
GB News, the People's Channel.
This is Britain's newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
This is Josh Howie Tonight, only on GB News. The cost of living has proven difficult for many this year, which is leading to some to come up with a new way of gifting. But is it OK to re-gift presents? Going head-to-head on this now are the journalist and broadcaster Sally Mitchell and showbiz and lifestyle commentator Danielle Mason. Hello, welcome, Merry Christmas.
Hello.
How are you both?
Good, thank you.
Well, as I say, it's been a difficult year. What do you make of this? Is this OK at all to do this, Danielle?
For me, Christmas is a time for Christians to come together, eat some nice food and put some nice thought into some gifts for your friends, your family, coming from your heart, going out to get them, just to show them some appreciation for your friendship or for them being a good auntie or parent. So for me, re-gifting is out of the question. It's, I think it's rude and it shows a bit of a lack of respect for the person that bought you the re-gifting gift. So that's my thoughts on it.
Oh, wow, OK, feeling pretty strong there. Sally, I'm hoping you feel different. That way we'd have a debate.
Yeah, slightly different. I agree with the ethos from what Danielle says, but unfortunately, some people just don't give very good presents or gifts. And if I receive something that I can't use or wouldn't use, don't like sometimes, then I feel it's totally acceptable if you can find a recipient who is more deserving to pass it on the next round of Christmas or birthdays or going to visit somebody, housewarming, anything. Yeah, let's recycle. Let's just keep the cycle going.
Well, I mean, that's a good point. Sally makes a good point, Danielle. I mean, you don't necessarily have to say, is it worse if you say, I'm re-gifting or whatever? If you think of something, you get something that, you don't think will actually work in your life, and then you know someone who would actually be perfect for. There's a picture of presents, just so we know what we're talking about. Really, you think, you know what? I've got a great thing here. I'm gonna give it to my dad. because he likes bottles of wine.
Yes, but not for a Christmas present. I would give it to him anyway.
I see.
Just be nice. But for Christmas, as I said before, as a Christian, it's about putting thought and effort into that Christmas present. So for me, it's something special for that person that comes from me. And obviously, also, if you're in the same circle of people, what would you do if you saw someone out wearing a gift that someone else had you had gifted someone and then they had put one of your other friends in it? I would be a bit upset because I'd think, oh, that was a gift for you. And yeah, I would feel really disappointed if one of my friends had done that. But I think, you know, not for a Christmas present, I would probably just pass the gift to a friend and say, I don't want this, but not for a Christmas present. For a Christmas present, I think it's got to be from the heart, show some love, you know, with your family and friends, and show like some thought and effort into their presents.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, I think. Sally, it kind of is about the intention, and it's not just necessarily about getting the present. It's the idea that a loved one has gone out there and thought about you and made that effort. Because, you know, buying presents is a total pain. But then, of course, I guess the danger, Sally, might be that you actually re-gift a present if you're back to someone who gave it to you in the first place, if you're not careful.
You have to be careful. Someone said to me the other day, because I mean, a lot of people do this. I'm really sorry, but they do. One person I spoke to said that they actually put Post-it notes on the sort of unwanted gift cupboard items that they have at their house, and that ensures that they remember who it came from and they don't re-gift to people within that circle, or, you know, close friends or people who might.
I'm doing it.
So that's
I'm doing
really nth degree. I'm very lucky. I do have normally have incredibly clever gifters who know me and give me the right thing. But sometimes it goes wrong. Sometimes I'll get a double of something. So what do you do then? Yes, the intention that is there. Yes, it's a lovely gift, but I simply don't need two.
Victoria's Secret.
Yeah, so you have to pass it on. If there's somebody I know that would really, really love it, and I would probably buy it for them anyway, what's the harm? I can't do with two silk sleep masks. I don't need two. I just don't. So it goes. I'm afraid I pass it on.
I'm speaking to one and the other, and I'm going backwards and forwards here. I mean, Danielle, I am sharing something here from my life. The only present I got this year was from my dad, and it was a puzzle. And he said, when he gave it to me, I'm re-gifting this to you, Josh, because I don't really want it. And you're not, Danielle, this is going to make you very upset in particular, but he'd solved it.
Oh.
Yes. What do you think? What do you think I should say to my dad? Do you think I should? By the way, I should point out I didn't get him anything, and I think deservedly so.
There you go. Then
get your dad something. You should get your dad
not after
something.
That's worse than a present.
Oh my God, it's going to be a very Scroogey Christmas next year at your...
I don't know what to say about that, but he's already done it, so...
He's done it. Danielle, okay, you've obviously Christmas today. Tell us your best present, and tell us, come on, be real now. Surely there was something that you got today that you thought, you know what, I don't want this, I'm giving this to Mum.
No, there isn't actually anything. You know, I get little gifts and stuff that, you know, not expensive gifts or anything, but I just think they're cute. Like, I think maybe I'm just one of these people that makes good use of everything that I can. My best gift today was actually I've got a Mac Apple top laptop.
Okay, I'm not going to re-gift that. No one's re-gifting Apple Macs. But you can re-gift it to me, Danielle. That's a pretty good present. Someone loves you.
Danielle just gets really, really good presents. That's the problem. She's never had a really rubbish present.
She's getting Apple Macs for Christmas. She's doing pretty good.
I still have like my candles and stuff like that, but I make all good use of it. I love it. You know, I've had makeup, I've had socks and things like that. I'm going to use them all, but there's no way I would get like a load of socks and then re-gift them as another Christmas present, because I just think
fair enough.
No.
Sally, what's the worst thing you got today? What's the best thing you got today?
Well, we've done it slightly differently. Again, there's so much. I mean, I'm probably an awful lot older, so I've got an awful lot of stuff. And when you get sort of peak stuff, you say, no more. Don't give me anything. I don't want presents. So this Christmas, because we've got a family wedding coming up in Australia, we're all chipping into a fund for a trip to Australia in October. So we haven't actually done Christmas presents properly this year at all. So that makes me sound really, really grinchy. But it's a much bigger picture for next year. And the worst thing I got today, well, not worse, it was lovely, but it was not useful to me because everything I do is on my phone, my calendar, my diary, everything. I actually got a paper calendar.
Oh my
gosh. Like one of those like proper turnover with the wiry.
I might as well make it a file fax.
I know, and I haven't seen one for years. I mean, I love it because it was given, as you say, Danielle, with love, and and they thought it would be really useful. But I personally won't be using it, and that's quite a hard thing to re-gift because it starts on January the 1st.
Oh no, is it this year's diary? Oh, that is the worst possible gift that you could get. Well, I've got to be honest, one of you did very well this Christmas and one of you less so, I'm afraid. Thank you very much for joining us. Merry Christmas to broadcaster Sally Mitchell and showbiz and lifestyle commentator Danielle Mason. Wow, OK, I'm just jealous. Gosh, you got an Apple Mac. Wow. OK, it's been a difficult year for the British royal family in 2024, with 2025 expected to be another packed year for the royals. Join me next for an end-of-year royal roundup.
Hello there, good evening. Hope you enjoyed a wonderful Christmas. If you have further festive celebrations on Boxing Day, then many of us can expect quite similar conditions to what we've seen around today. We hold on to a very similar pattern with high pressure spreading its way in across southern areas of the UK. Meanwhile, this cold front is slowly slipping its way into the northwest, bringing more in the way of cloud and outbreaks of rain here. They'll push into parts of central Scotland into the early hours of Boxing Day morning, also into Northern Ireland as well. Generally further towards the south, staying drier, a few clear spells in there and some fog patches around also, but most of us certainly not seeing too chilly overnight and definitely frost free as we kick off Boxing Day morning. For the far north of Scotland, there will be a few brighter spells around on Boxing Day now that that cold front has slowly pushed southwards. Beyond them, a few showers still to cater for. The bulk of that rain will be light and patchy, but it is going to be across central areas of Scotland, spreading its way in for Northern Ireland first thing in the morning, hopefully drying up a touch here into the afternoon. The best chance of seeing some sunshine for parts of northeast England as well as northeastern areas of Wales. Otherwise, a lot of central and southern areas will see quite a lot of cloud throughout Boxing Day. So if you are heading out for a walk, whilst it will be dry in the south, generally quite grey skies for many of us. That picture will really continue right throughout the day. Temperatures, particularly to the southern end of this rain band, will be on the mild side for the time of year, topping up at around 10 to 11 degrees Celsius, but something cooler across the far north there, 7-8 degrees Celsius in the Western Isles and Northern Isles. If we fast forward to Friday, you'll notice there's not that much deal of a change. That rain band is still in play, weakening a touch, so it will be lighter and patchier for areas of Scotland. Generally quite cloudy once again for England, Wales and Northern Ireland. A few spots of drizzle are possible. Will the cloud eventually clear? Well, hopefully into Saturday, more of us should see a few more sunny spells around. Bye. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Every Saturday, 10 till 12, we'll bring you all of the news that you need to know. We'll also remind you that there is so much to smile about.
It's my favourite time of the week. I get to relax, enjoy some light-hearted stories and let Ellie teach me about fashion too.
That's Saturday Morning Live, every Saturday, 10 till 12.
Only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
This is Josh Howie Tonight, only on GB News. This year has proven to be a difficult year for the royal family, with both King Charles and the Princess of Wales both revealing cancer diagnoses. We will discuss that and look ahead to what's in store for the royals in 2025. I'm joined now by royal commentator Sarah Robertson. Sarah, welcome. How are you? Merry Christmas.
Lovely to see you.
You too. This is you're wearing is this a leopard print, Christmas leopard print?
It is. It is. I've got a bit glitzy. I've done a bit gold for you. There's a bit leopard for you, Josh. Yeah, I've got all out for Christmas Day.
Very good. It's looking wonderful there. So please, can you quickly, first of all, let's just sum up 2024 because it has been a big and very tough year for the royal family.
I think this year has been one of the hardest that the royal family in its history in the 20th and 21st century have ever faced. It really has. I mean, we were rocked to the foundations at the start of the year. First of all, we had King Charles come out and make that announcement that he was being treated for cancer, a cancer which wasn't specified. And then following that, Princess Catherine, the Princess of Wales, sort of kind of disappeared, didn't she, from view? And we were told that she'd had an operation, she'd gone into hospital, she'd had an operation. All those awful conspiracy theories sort of took hold for about 2 months, with people saying, what's going on? Where is Princess Catherine? And then she blindsided everybody when she came out and said she too was battling cancer and was had discovered that she'd had cancer and was having a round of preventative chemotherapy, was what it was described as. So to have the King and then the Princess of Wales, really the two most senior members of the royal family, both going through cancer at the same time and really sort of being taken out of work. I mean, I think King Charles, we saw obviously a lot more of him. He sort of tried to sort of do what he could. I mean, the different cancers have different treatment plans, so we can't compare. But for Princess Catherine, she really did have to take those good 6 months off in order to be able to recover properly and be able to come back. And to see her today, Josh, walking around back at Sandringham, doing the royal walkabout for the church service this morning, it just was joyful to see. She has been a massive miss in terms of the royal family and being on the world stage with the royal family. We've really missed the glamour of Princess Catherine. So it was a treat to see her and looking so well. She was back to her best, I would say, today.
Yeah, I mean, she very much humanises the royal family, connects them to the rest of us. Another moment that I would say happened this year that did that was when King Charles went out into the hospital, and that was that his first appearance back, where he was with other people who were going through cancer treatment, and you could just feel there was real empathy there both ways.
Absolutely, yes. I think like anyone going through a life-threatening diagnosis such as what the King's gone through. Let's just face it, just yesterday alone, they said 150 women were told yesterday alone on Christmas Eve they would have breast cancer. So, there's people all over the United Kingdom who are dealing with cancer, have been told they've got cancer. And it's a real leveller, isn't it, among people? Everybody knows someone or has been touched by this horrible, horrible, cruel disease, including our King. And I think it's, as you say, it's that empathy, and he has that in spades, does King Charles. He really does. He really passionately cares about the people of Great Britain, about this country, about its future, about our welfare and how people are. And to see him interacting with those other sufferers, knowing that they understood and he understood what they were going through. And it was just seeing King and the people, British people, British citizens, as one, really, all on the same. I mean, cancer, it's indiscriminatory.
Well, it's a great leveller.
How it comes. It's a leveller. That's exactly it, Josh. You've given me the words that I needed. Yes, it's the great leveller, and that's what we've seen. And look at the King there. He loves meeting with people. He's very, very tactile. A lot more tactile than his mother, the late Queen, was. She was obviously a different generation, had a different way of going on. But King Charles is very, very tactile. He likes to interact with the public. He loves to speak to them. And he takes time. He's knowing when he goes on these walkabouts, he doesn't rush. When people go out with him, those who are working with him, he doesn't stop for lunch. He doesn't stop. He likes to speak to everybody, as many people as he can, and make them feel important and make them feel listened to and heard to. And anyone who's working with them on these days out, they're told to bring snack bars in their bags because they won't have time to stop and take a coffee break or get anything to eat because King Charles is relentless. That's how he is. He's such a grafter. And he goes, so sorry about that, Josh.
That's
Sorry.
okay.
There he goes. There he goes.
I'm just glad that when the camera went away, we didn't see something terrible.
No, it was fine. Right,
Someone tied up in the corner.
No, it's okay. There's no one here. Back in the room. So yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say. The King, it's what's happened with him, I think, has really brought out even more of his empathy. It's come to the surface even more. It was always there, but now we're seeing a lot more of it. And it's lovely to see, and it's lovely for people to see as well that he understands what they're dealing with and what they're going through, and that he can empathize with them. And that's what he touched on very much in his speech today.
So very quickly, what can we expect, do you think, in 2025? Any predictions?
Well, it's good. The both of them, Princess Catherine and the King is raring to go. He's sort of been signed off from his medical team. They're very pleased with how his diagnosis, how his treatment plan's gone, how his cancer is. And they've said, yes, he can go back to work full time. Princess Catherine, she's been given the green light to go back to work full time. So next year, it's going to be, everything's going to go back to normal. We're going to see the royals throwing themselves passionately into their causes. They'll be out a lot more, getting involved in things, doing a lot more walkabouts, a lot more charity work. We'll see them at the big days, you know, those big social calendar days where they were missing in action. We're going to see them back at that. And there's lots to look forward to with them. And they have been a miss. It's been hard this year in the royal calendar, especially not having Princess Catherine, and just to have her back next year is going to make it exciting again. So we're going to see some great things coming from them. But I think for both of them, having gone through what they've both gone through, they're very keen to use their voices as a platform for good and to raise more awareness around cancer, around the illness, what families are going through, showing that compassion, and more to do as well with the medical side of things, recognising, which we saw Charles paid tribute to the doctors and nurses in his speech today, more recognition of our medical workers as well in this country and how important the NHS is to us.
Cool. Well, every cloud has a silver lining, I guess. But thank you very much to royal commentator Sarah Robertson and your very naughty webcam. Merry Christmas. Thank you for joining us. Here is the Vocal Zone Voice Studio Choir from South Derbyshire with Once in Royal David's City.
Once in Royal David's City stood a lonely cattle shed, where a mother laid her baby in a manger for his bed. Mary was that mother, but Jesus Christ her little child.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed that. I was slightly distracted because there were two people in the background who looked like Sir Keir Starmer. I don't know if you saw that or not. Next up is a special Christmas quiz with my superstar panel. Don't go anywhere.
Lee Anderson's Real World. Fridays from 7 p.m.
Last orders at the bar, and I'm joined by Geordie Shore star Ricky Guanaccio. Have I said that right? Is that Italian?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Italian, your parents Italian?
Is it? Pronunciation was pretty much perfect.
Yeah, well, there you go. So, look, mate, Geordie Shore, I've never watched it, mate, so I do apologise about that. But I know these reality TV shows are making big stars out of the people, making you famous, making you loads of money. Is it worth it?
For me personally, yeah. It's been a hell of a career. Been a hell of a lot of fun doing it. Ups and downs, but first and foremost, money-wise, yeah.
That's good. So people stopping in the street, you being famous, wanting the autograph and all. How did you cope with that, Ricky?
Well, when we first started doing the show, I mean, we got our show off the back of Jersey Shore in America. We never expected the fame that we got, and you know, being one of the biggest reality TV shows in the UK and now the world. You know, it's in 150 odd countries worldwide. Wow. It's pretty crazy. It's when you're living in houses. I mean, for example, Geordie Shore and Love Island's probably the same as well. When you're living in villas and you're living in houses, the arguing side sort of plays on your mind. You've got to deal with all that. You know, it's a hard place to be. It's a pressure cooker.
You're living in one of these villas, Ricky, or one of these houses. Do you ever wake up one morning and think, what am I doing here?
When I first started, yes. Yeah. Now, I love it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I don't mind all the, you know, there's no emotion connecting me now with filming. It's kind of like I go in there, it's fun, or it's, you know, it's dramatic, whatever it may be.
Have you ever worked behind a bar?
No.
No?
Yeah, for not a long period of time. My mum and dad had a...
Well, I can
definitely mess this one up.
Yeah, I can actually believe that you've never worked behind a bar.
Yeah, so my parents sacked us when I worked in the restaurant.
Well, obviously, I mean, you wouldn't get a job here with a pint like that, would you?
Do you want it?
No, mate, no.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back. It's time for my Christmas quiz. Let's get started, shall we? I'm joined again by my festive panel, political commentator Emma Wolfe, commentator Ingrid Tarrant, and trade unionist Andy Twelves. Do they have what it takes to get these questions right? Let's see. Question 1. Here we go. What is the highest grossing Christmas movie of all time? Oh, they want to get the... Oh, OK, what is Ingrid?
Elf.
Oh.
It's a Wonderful World.
Die Hard.
Die Hard. OK, let's find out. What is it? It is, oh, wow, 2018 version of Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I think that's with Jim Carrey.
No, not in 2018. It was Benedict Cumberbatch's version. It was an awful production.
Serious?
Yeah.
A Benedict Cumberbatch version of The Grinch?
Yeah, well, it was a cartoon. It was a cartoon.
Oh, it was a cartoon.
It was dreadful. It's abhorrent, and yeah, no.
I've never seen you so angry before. It's, don't get Andy talking about Labour or...
No, honestly, austerity, Dr. Seuss's remake of The Grinch, it's awful.
Oh, no. Wow, OK, very passionate man then. OK, let's move on to the next one. Question 2. What year was the first Band Aid Christmas song? The first Band Aid Christmas song? Here we go.
1982.
1982, OK.
1986.
What do you, Ingrid? Come on.
Oh.
You sang in it.
Oh, yes, I did. 80.
80. All right, let's find out. It is 84.
Oh.
Right. I was going to say 84, by the way. Yeah, what did you think about the controversy this year? I mean, it's a controversy.
What was the controversy?
Well, basically, they put it out again. They want to make some money for charity. Great. And then people like Ed Sheeran was like, no, it's all about it makes Africa look bad or whatnot. And it's like,
I think probably over the last 40 years, I think Africa has changed, maybe.
Well, it has, but the money is still going to help people. There are still people need in different parts of Africa.
Sure.
I don't know. It's also for me. It just like poo-poos the whole thing of giving to charity. Anyway, question 3: how many ghosts visit Scrooge in A Christmas Carol? Oh, look at this.
3.
3. OK.
I went to see A Muppets Christmas Carol yesterday.
Why have we not talked about that? That's such a good film.
Such a good film.
That's such a good film. Right, question 4. The Christmas film Miracle on 34th Street was based on a real department store. What is it called? Oh, here we go again.
Bloomingdale's.
Emma's... Bloomingdale's.
Macy's.
Macy, any other department stores in New York that you...
Beale's. I don't know if that's in New York. But...
I'm going to just... Woolworths. Let's find out what it is. It was Macy's. Weirdly, a friend of mine is the voice of Macy's.
Yeah.
She survived off that for 20 years.
That's not bad.
It's pretty good. Pretty good for her. Question 5. What sporting event did Santa Claus win on June the 3rd, 1964? This is a bit niche, isn't it? I bet there are people out there who are going, you idiot, it's football or it's... what?
Ice hockey.
Ice hockey, this is very Christmassy.
Downhill skiing.
This...
Curling.
Curling, yes, that would definitely make sense. It is the Epsom Derby horse race. OK.
Of course, obviously.
Trick question. This is very good stuff for quizzes now. Well, there we go. So, have you had a good time here? I hope you have. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. We didn't actually get going with what your mornings are like. Let's talk about what awaits you for the rest of Christmas, the Christmas holiday period. What are you going to be doing, Emma?
Tomorrow I'm seeing more family and...
That's it. And you're just re-gifting everything, aren't you?
I'll re-gift... Well, yeah, hoping that the ones that I saw today won't see the other ones that I see tomorrow.
Yeah,
got some good re-gift. Maybe have to repack them.
OK.
Make sure the labels are off.
Yes.
Change the names. That's always good.
Oh, yeah, from the...
Yeah.
To them, yeah.
That's the other thing, by the way, I didn't mention this during the re-gifting, but when you got a lot of kids, you keep on, you know, a lot of these presents go back. So it is tricky, but I have actually given a present back a year later to a parent.
Play the long game. Play the long game.
Quickly. Andy, what about yourself? You're recovering from a bit of a hangover, aren't you?
Yeah, well, no, I think I'm well recovered now, but I think, you know...
Get another one.
I'm just going to be kind of drinking, smoking, eating my way until, you know, fateful January 2nd.
That's what Christmas is all about.
What it's about, really. I think, you know, the viewers will resonate with that.
I'm sure they will. Ingrid, are you doing any special plans for tomorrow with your family?
No, real chill-out zone, which is fantastic, on my own. And then the day after, it's my daughter's... I know. Honestly, I can't tell you how much I value that.
I know.
And then the day after, it's my daughter's 40th birthday, and she hates her birthday being this time, and it's 40 as well.
Wow.
So
and it makes you think, how do you have a 40-year-old?
I know. I don't even feel 40 myself.
Oh, that's it. Well, anyway, happy birthday to her. Thank you all so much for coming in. It is Christmas.
Can you answer why is Boxing Day called Boxing Day? It's something to do with
boxes. Yes, because we're packing up boxes, aren't we?
No, the people come round, all the people, the dustmen, the...
Oh, OK, there we go. All right, we're going to have to get off it. Thank you very much to my panel. Thank you so much to the team, all the people working out there who came in today to GB News to deliver this show. Headline is next after your weather. Merry, Merry Christmas. Bye.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Hope you enjoyed a wonderful Christmas. If you have further festive celebrations on Boxing Day, then many of us can expect quite similar conditions to what we've seen around today. We hold on to a very similar pattern with high pressure spreading its way in across southern areas of the UK. Meanwhile, this cold front is slowly slipping its way into the northwest, bringing more in the way of cloud and outbreaks of rain here. They'll push into parts of central Scotland into the early hours of Boxing Day morning, also into Northern Ireland as well. Generally further towards the south, staying drier, a few clear spells in there and some fog patches around also, but most of us certainly not seeing too chilly overnight and definitely frost free as we kick off Boxing Day morning. For the far north of Scotland, there will be a few brighter spells around on Boxing Day now that that cold front has slowly pushed southwards. Beyond them, a few showers still to cater for. The bulk of that rain will be light and patchy, but it is going to be across central areas of Scotland, spreading its way in for Northern Ireland first thing in the morning, hopefully drying up a touch here into the afternoon. The best chance of seeing some sunshine for parts of northeast England as well as northeastern areas of Wales. Otherwise, a lot of central and southern areas will see quite a lot of cloud throughout Boxing Day. So if you are heading out for a walk, whilst it will be dry in the south, generally quite grey skies for many of us. That picture will really continue right throughout the day. Temperatures, particularly to the southern end of this rain band, will be on the mild side for the time of year, topping up at around 10 to 11 degrees Celsius, but something cooler across the far north there, 7-8 degrees Celsius in the Western Isles and Northern Isles. If we fast forward to Friday, you'll notice there's not that much deal of a change. That rain band is still in play, weakening a touch, so it will be lighter and patchier for areas of Scotland. Generally quite cloudy once again for England, Wales and Northern Ireland. A few spots of drizzle are possible. Will the cloud eventually clear? Well, hopefully into Saturday, more of us should see a few more sunny spells around. Bye. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
We can expect clear skies, leading to a light and warm day ahead. Lovely. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Imagine getting the call to tell you that you've won £50,000 in tax-free cash, our biggest cash prize of the year.
Oh my God.
That's a big surprise.
Oh my God. This is amazing.
I'm in shock.
I'd say don't hesitate, do it.
For another chance to win, text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2. You can call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB10 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 6 p.m. on the 31st of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
On the 8th of October at Battersea Arts Centre, a new orchestra launched its inaugural season. The orchestra, which is named Chromatica, is formed of some of the best young musicians in Britain. They're due to perform in traditional venues and in community spaces. The aim is to bring their youth and dynamism to a wide repertoire of music. Predominantly, they'll work with emerging conductors who will have the chance to shape the orchestra and its repertoire. To share her experiences of bringing the ensemble together, I'm joined by the violinist and Chromatica orchestra lead, Maren Bosma. To what extent is this novel? To what extent is this new ground?
Well, new ground, it is new ground in a sense that this is a completely new orchestra. Obviously, in the current sort of cultural climate, it's not really easy to set up a new orchestra. And so in that sense, it's a novelty for us to kind of try and carve out our space in the current climate of musical orchestras and musicians in Britain.
Yes, I mean, it's quite odd in a way to think of a new orchestra because the ones that we have tend to be struggling and numbers indeed have been reduced. I used to be associated with an orchestra which unfortunately went under. You've got some private backing for this.
Yeah.
Why do you think the private backers have been willing to give you support? What is it that they see as your unique selling proposition?
Well, Chromatica Orchestra essentially is an early career orchestra. So we're formed of all sort of top musicians who've graduated in, say, the last sort of 5 to 10 years. Because everyone is of that generation, there is a sort of enthusiasm and dynamism that we bring to the stage, I think is quite unique. The orchestra's mission, it's really focused on creating opportunities for young emerging musicians.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Hi there, I'm Michelle Dewberry and I'm going to take a second to tell you all about my show, Dubes & Co. We start off with the issues of the day. We then bring in both sides of the argument. We get rid of the disrespect and then you throw me into the mix. And trust